look at Blake and Bree and what they did. So I'm just so grateful that I get a chance to call my brother, and we get a chance to just listen to him. He's going to pour in. He's knocking out of the park like nobody can ever explain. It's unexplainable. So I'm going to bring up my brother, Blake Goad.
Don't say it.
Check. What's up, y'all? How are y'all doing? Well, I'm excited to be back at G5 Leadership. For y'all that don't know, last G5 Leadership, I had the good old thing called jury duty. So I called Dad and said, hey, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, well, I'm having to help make decisions for a case. And he's like, oh, fun. I was like, yes. So I had the amazing experience of doing jury duty, so it was fun. But sorry, guys, I strained my voice. This is fun. Talking for 2 weeks is amazing. But I'm excited to be at G5 Leadership. This is awesome. It feels great to be back. I'm loving this LED wall behind us, Josh. I agree. This does feel like, it feels really cool to have this thing behind us. This thing's amazing. But of course, I have to tell a joke. I didn't get to tell a joke last month, so I told a joke. I got to tell this. This is one of my favorite jokes, and I tell this joke a lot, but I have to tell it. So this doctor, no, not the doctor. This guy took this pet duck he had to the doctor. And he took it, and he was like, Doc, I don't know what's going on. This thing's not, it looks like it's dead, I think. I can't get it to come back alive. It just lays around the house all day. And it doesn't do anything. I don't know what's going on. And the veterinarian was like, that is weird. Let me see what I can do. So he points to the back of the doctor's area, and the nurse opens the door, and this cat comes running in. This cat comes running in and is sniffing around and, licking the duck and doing whatever it is, doing it around the duck. And he looks at the doctor and shakes his head, and the cat leaves the room. And the doctor's like, yeah, man, I hate to break it to you. Your duck is dead. And he's like, man, how do you know? Like, what was that? Like, how do you know he's dead? And he goes, well, we can do one more test. And so he opens the door, and the nurse opens the door, and this dog comes running in. And the dog's sniffing around and licking the duck and doing his thing. And the dog looks up at the doctor and shakes his head and runs out the room. And the doctor's like, yeah, man, I hate to break it to you. Your duck's dead. I'm sorry. And he goes, well, that's crazy. And he goes, yeah, but that's still going to cost you $1,200. And he goes, $1,200 for what? Nothing happened. He goes, well, we did a CAT scan and a lab report, so I had to make sure that we're good. So I love that joke. It's one of my favorite jokes. But I'm going to jump right in today, guys. But we do have our online amazing audience around the world. We are so glad you're tuning in to G5 Leadership. But I'm going to talk today about the 3 secrets to leading yourself. 3 secrets to leading yourself. Obviously, in life, there's so many different ways that you can lead yourself, but I'm just going to focus on 3 today. And I love this. The potential to lead others determines on how you lead yourself. One of the greatest things in life to show your example and to show who you are is how you lead yourself day in and day out when you're not with people and when you are with people. And people always come up to my sister and I, and they're like, is your parents and is your sister or is your brother, are they the same people they are here? Are they the same people at home? And one of the greatest honors of my life is to be able to say yes, that they're the same people they are at home. They lead themselves, what they say, what they do, who they are is the same here as if you were at our house with us on a daily basis. And I believe there's 3 things I believe that can contribute to helping you become a person who's consistent in who they are. So number 1 is developing your leadership identity. Developing your leadership identity. One of the biggest things in life is knowing who you are and knowing what you want. Growing up, I've been in many leadership sessions listening to my dad train leaders, and the one thing I've always heard my dad say is find out what you want. And if you don't know what you want, find out what you don't want, and what you don't want will help you get what you want. That is massive. And one of the greatest things you can do in life is figure out who you are by what you want. What do you want out of life? The greatest things you can do sometimes look like they cannot be done, but you accomplish them anyway. It was funny. I was watching an interview earlier today, and one of my favorite sports of all time is golf. I love golf. And they were doing an interview with Tiger Woods, and they said, Tiger, you're getting to the point now where you're not playing as many tournaments. Why do you choose the tournaments you play in? And he said, these tournaments I choose to play in made me who I am, so I choose to come back to where I started my career at. How many of you know you go to where you are and you thrive? Where you go back to where you thrive. One of Tiger's greatest things in life is about a year and a half ago, he was in a terrible car crash. And they thought he was going to be able to walk, he wasn't going to be able to do anything. And he came back a year and a half later and was able to play all 4 days at a golf tournament that he loves to play at. It's called the Masters. It's this week. And they were asking him about it. And they said, Tiger, why does it made you want to come back so bad? He said, I wanted to come prove everybody wrong. He knows who he is. The greatest thing you can do is the 5 people in your life will determine who you become. The closest people in your life, the 5 closest people you have, your friends, your family, your mentors, your loved ones, whoever it is in your life, the 5 closest people you have will determine the outcome of your life. What you say, what you do, where you go, who you are, it determines your outlook on life. One of the funniest things is, if y'all were at conference, I was talking and I don't remember exactly. I said something and somebody said, repeat it. And I said, I'm going to pull a Tim Goad here, and can somebody you send that to me later because I don't remember what I said. And you're going to say, Blake, why is that funny? He says, because I realized I'm a lot more like my father than I realized. And that is a good person, in my opinion, to be just like. But he is always, as much as he is my father, there's very few people in my life that I can say they're more than my father. He's my best friend. And he is one of those people in my life that I know I can go anytime, anywhere, and I can say, hey, I need your help with something. Can you help me with this? Number 2 is developing your leadership habits. The last 4 or 5 months, I've really been pounding on your habits. The greatest things you can do is find habits that will get you to do what you ultimately need to do without you thinking about it. 40% of your actions in a day are habits that you have created in your life. It was funny, I had a leader come up to me at conference, and he said, when you said the 40% of your habits determine what your day comes, he goes, I didn't realize that. He said, so I'm on my drive home tomorrow, I'm going to write out what I think my habits are, and I'm going to try to change them for the better. And it took me back because I was like, for a leader at his level to come out to me and go, this is what I heard and this is what I know I need to do, let me know what I said really matters. What you do matters. One of the greatest things you can do is get something in your life that you know is going to grow you and not harm you. Habits. I can attest to this. My father is one of the greatest learners I've ever seen in my entire life. How many of you like school? Did you like school growing up? Did you like, I hated school. I'm sorry, hate's a strong word. I disliked it very much. But my dad pulled me aside one day and said, Blake, school is not about what they can teach you. It's about teaching you how to learn. It's not about, yes, it's about learning history and how to spell and how to read, but ultimately it is teaching you. School is to teach you how you can learn so when you get older, the habit is already built in you. Learning is a habit. So I want to encourage you to listen to tapes, listen to podcasts, read books, get things in your life that will grow you to the next level that you need to be. And surround yourself with the people that will stretch you more than you stretch yourself. It was funny growing up. We always, unconsciously, Bree and I didn't realize how many amazing leaders we were around at a young age. To us, they were just all our friends. And so when we got older and we realized the caliber of people that we were exposed to at a young age, it made us grateful for our childhood and the habits that we learned by watching other leaders succeed and fail. And one of the greatest things that you can learn in life is sometimes what to do, but ultimately also what not to do. And I have so many people in life that I've learned what to do from, but ultimately I've also learned what not to do. And that is from the habits they have put in their life on a daily basis. The habits. So number 3 is developing your leadership inputs. Developing your leadership inputs. And this kind of covers a little bit of what I was saying a few minutes ago, is the things you listen to, the things you read, the things you watch, the things you say, the music you listen to, everything you do in your life, I want you all to be intentional with it. Because sometimes the smallest things will make the greatest impact in the longest term. I remember when I was little and I started my parents noticed I loved to drum. And my dad talked about this Sunday a little bit. So they would pull out pots and pans and I would bang on the pots and pans and play to it. And they would put music on and let me play along with the music. And to this day, if people come and ask me, how did you learn how to drum? I will automatically go to, I just played with what I was listening to. And you're saying, Blake, that's like silly. Why would you just play with what you're listening to? The greatest things, I keep saying this and I can't say this enough, the things you put in your body, the things you put in your brain, what you hear will eventually come out. So today, and I told this and I laughed, and a couple months ago I looked at Dad and I said, I was driving down the road and it got kind of quiet in the car and I started laughing. And he was like, what's so funny? And I said, well, I was playing drums this morning at church and I heard a drum lick that I have never heard before until I heard a song that came on the radio and I realized where I had heard it. And to me, that just shows what you listen to really, truly does come out. One of the greatest things you can do is fill yourself up so when you're around other people, you don't have to dig for something to fill other people up. Now, I didn't say you had to preach at somebody. I didn't say you had to tell people how to do something. You just being you will ultimately change somebody's life. And it was funny, this past weekend I had an opportunity to go to an event, and I was talking to my dad about it this morning. We had to go get our hair cut and make us look gorgeous again, you know. But we were driving down the road, and I said, Dad, I think I know why I started going to I think God showed me why I started going to these events. And his dad was like, why is that, bud? He said, I believe God put me there in the beginning for something different, but now I believe God's put me there to be a light to my friends that go to these events. And it was so crazy. I didn't realize it until I had a friend of mine come to me and goes, dude, I see the love you have for your friends at these events. Thank you for being you around them so I can see what that looks like. And I was just like, buddy, thank you. I'm just being me. The greatest thing you can do in life is be you when everybody else is trying to be somebody else. The habits you create, who you identify as, your leadership identity, who you are, determines what you do. And I know I keep saying that. And I love what Mother Teresa said. Mother Teresa said, everybody comes into your life as a lesson, and everybody comes into your life as a blessing. And I've always told people, the lessons are the blessings, and the blessings are the lessons. Because I can learn something from every situation I'm in, and every blessing I'm in, I can learn something from that. No matter what, I always try to learn something. And I love this quote, and it's so true, and it's so good. And it simply says, your smile is your logo, your personality is your business card, who you are leaving others after you leave an interaction with them is your trademark. So how you make people feel after you lead them will determine how they remember your interaction. That's why we say here at G5, within 5 seconds, people will determine if they're coming back or not. 5 seconds. Imagine that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. People have already decided if they're coming back to leadership or not in those 5 seconds. Think about that. 5 seconds to change somebody's perspective on what is going on. So I want to encourage you all to help develop your leadership inputs. Pour more into yourself. Create habits that will grow you and that will change your perspective on life. And finally, make sure your inputs are worthy of your time. So I really love y'all. Thank you all for coming in. And I'm going to turn this over to my amazing father, Tim Goad.
All right. How incredible is that? Yeah. Man, I got convicted there. Like my input. Wow. How many of you know a big part of learning is unlearning? And so it's hard because I'm used to being the way I am. And your new assignment is going to demand that you be different. That's why this is so critically important. Can you just help me thank Spencer and Michael's back there running camera? Thank you, buddy. Stepping up to the plate. I love that. I love to see these young, emerging leaders just coming forth, man. It fires me up. So this is taped and it's sent everywhere, and I love it. I coach about 50 companies and a lot of pastors. And you that go to G5 Church here are going to watch us. We're going to move more and more and more into shepherding the shepherds and building not only pastors and assistant pastors and administrative pastors and worship pastors. We're going to start developing their teams with them, because it is a myth that that's a growing organization or that's a growing church. That's a myth. The truth is there are growing people. And when you grow people, everything in that culture grows. And so you're taking time today from busyness of work, and we're all busy. So I want, and I know Blake feels the same weight. When people come and listen to a podcast or you come to an event like this, it's like our shape class on Sunday night. I want to make sure you walk out going, I don't know if I can digest all that. But you just keep shoving it in there, and I promise you'll see life change. And you're going to be so pleased when you meet yourself. And you start to see the greatness that's in you. And so it's really, really important. Can I mentor you for a second and coach you for a second? And this is a 4-hour session, and I'm going to give it to you in about 10 minutes, okay? But every leader, I don't care what you're leading, whether it's a home, a church, a business, an organization, you have to do these 4 things. And if you were in the process of being coached by me or mentored by me, about every 3 months, I revisit these 4 things, because you have to make adjustments. There are things going on around you that you don't have any control over, that if you're not aware of them, if you don't see them, they will take you out. There is climates that you go through in business, interest rates, inflation, mindsets of people. If you're not aware of it, if all you're doing is just going along doing what you do, and you're stuck in what you do, and you don't see the landscape that's in front of you, you'll be taken out. If you want promotion in life, be somebody that can see farther than your present behavior. Be somebody that can see beyond your present thought or decision. Be that person that can say, I'm going to make this decision, but how will it impact people around me? Okay, I feel like I would like to pause and take questions, but we'll keep moving. Matter of fact, you say, Tim, why do people that are already succeeding have a coach or a mentor? For the same reason that every athlete has a coach. Because you cannot see wasted motion in your life. You can't see the dysfunction in your own life. But it takes a really, really positive self-esteem to be able to go to somebody and say, hey, will you watch over me? That's another word for coaching, mentoring, and pastoring. It just means I got you. I'm going to protect you. I need people that protect me from me. Anybody left alone in their own thoughts normally does not do the best thing. And so right now there are a lot of people that have a beautiful plan for your life. Need me to say that again? There are a lot of people right now that want to manipulate your value for their advantage. And so today, I am going to give you the 10 signs of a narcissist. But before I do that, can I give you these 4 things? And I'm not talking about narcissists because I want you to get all paranoid and start walking around and going, everybody's a narcissist, okay? Even though we all do have narcissistic traits, okay? But I just want you to be aware in your own life and in the lives of people that you're leading, because it's critical for how fast you can go and how far you can climb. Okay, that is a big bunch of words. 4 things. Number 1, I have to create positive change. You've been going along, and you've been doing something at your level and at your pace, and right now with 100% accuracy, I can tell you that what you know is keeping you from knowing what you need to know. That what you're so certain of is absolutely in the way of what you need to be doing to get to where you need to go. That's why you need fresh eyes and fresh ears and fresh perspective, and it will free you. Some of you have built a cage that you live in, and you tell yourself, I can only do this, and I can only do this much. I can only do this, and I can only do this much. I hope you're hearing me right now. I can only do this, and I can only do this much. I mentor a lot of guys, and I was on the phone with one yesterday, and he had this thinking. I can only do this. I said, bro, you've got to open your heart to doing this and this. It's not this or that. It's this and this. And if you will open that up, and if you will let somebody come in your life that you can be accountable to, it will change everything. You got to understand, most of us have been trained to do as little as we can and get the most we can get. Should I say that again? Most of us have been trained to do the littlest amount that I can to receive the most I can possibly get. And you got to watch in the world of entitlement right now that you don't walk in and automatically think, I should be getting this when you haven't brought this much value. The sign of your paycheck in your life is the amount of value you bring to somebody's life. Okay? Now for me, it started out, I didn't know how I was going to make $10 an hour. And right now, if you go to Speakers Bureau, I, for an hour talk, get $12,500 to start with. Why? Because of the amount of value that I bring. But I also will make you very mad. You'll want to absolutely just take me out back and beat the mess out of me because you're like, just leave me alone. Because we get in comfort zones. And somebody is going to come along and open that up. Can I ask you a question? If you were to get a $1 billion idea, are you ready for that? Are you ready for a $1 million idea? Oh, if the person of your dream walked into your life right now, are you really ready? There's nothing worse in life than have somebody cause you to be less than what you are in order to be comfortable with you. Can I just, are you hearing me? Are you letting me in? Or have you shut me down already, okay? And so you got to understand that most of the changes you need to make in your life are not outside of you, they're inside of you. And what causes us in life to get so frustrated is we're hard workers. You wouldn't be here today if you're not a hard worker. You're not afraid of hard work. But hard work alone will not do it. You have to be smart at the work you do. There are a lot of people that are really hard workers. I mean, they're physically, mentally, and emotionally, they are just really hard workers. And I'm all for hard work. But I can tell you, you have to have smart work. My father was a very hard worker. But as a boy, I would watch him and go, Daddy, why do you do that way? Have you ever been around somebody that they seem just to take the hardest path possible to get to where they need to go. Now, I want you to just hear me right now and make this change. It's so easy to have limited poverty mentality. It's so easy to have limited poverty mentality. It's a lack mentality. So whenever I look at something, I see what I don't have instead of seeing the possibilities that could take place. When you begin to think possibilities, when you begin to change your look and your self-esteem of yourself, when you change that. So right now you're saying, Tim, what in the world would people come and pay you to coach them for? It's because we're able to go inside and see what they're doing and change it. You know what one of those things would be? How I interact with people. What do I make people feel? I'm going to pick on you for a second. McGill is got a growing company, and it's crazy what's happening. But can I tell him this? But he said, I feel there's something wrong. Normally, you can feel when something's wrong before you know something is wrong. Your body will tell you that something's wrong. And beware of somebody that can do something wrong and not have a feeling that that was wrong, not be aware of it. Have you ever had somebody say something to you or act a way around you and they're just fine and you're going like, that was like really an awful experience? Do you know what I'm talking about? If you're not aware. See, people don't understand the greatest thing you need to work on in your life is your people awareness, people skills. I'm amazed at how many people have the mindset that I can walk into any situation and I know the best thing to do. To have that kind of confidence must be amazing. It's better to walk in and talk to somebody and find out what they think they should do, watch this, and what they're capable of doing. If I ask you to do something that you're not capable of, I'll shrink you instead of build you. And here's what I can do is I can give you 4 or 5 steps to get you where you need to be, where you can look around and go, wow, I actually did that. It's like the first time you ever rode a bike. Do you remember learning how to ride a bike? Some of you had training wheels. Some of us, we just got on and prayed and skinned ourselves and ripped our knees apart and did everything. Some of us, it took great pain. Some of you, you know, it was amazing. One of the things that we did for our children that was incredible is we got them those little scooters. And so they would ride around everywhere on those scooters in one leg, and they got their balance. So when we put them on a bicycle, they were already used to balancing. How many of you know you don't have to overcome that feeling? That's a shortcut. What we do for leaders and what we do for people is help them get used to the feeling of succeeding, because most of us have gotten so comfortable with the feeling of failure. Well, it wasn't what it was supposed to be, but it's okay. So what are 5 changes you need to make? I'd love to help you work on that. It might be who you listen to. It might be who you take advice from. It may be how you look at the future. It may be how you treat people when you have an interaction with them. It may be what really has full attention of your mind. You're either wasting time worrying or angry or bitter or confused or in gossip, or you're taking the energy of your brain right now and you're focusing it on where are we going to go and what are the 5 steps I need to take to get there. Okay? I can tell you, everybody listening to me right now, there is a business inside of you that you have not yet seen. There's an idea. And it's amazing when you find something that's yours, how much more intensity and how much more commitment, how much harder you work, and it doesn't even feel like work. And when I see a high performer that's performing well in one area, when they're performing well in one area, Let me say it again. When they're performing well and when they're not trying to take shortcuts, they're not trying to use politics to get where they need to be, they're not trying to do anything that is dysfunctional. They are giving their all. Then that tells me they are ready for the next big adventure. But the next big adventure is not in your plan. It's not even in your vision. It's inside of you. And you need, like I need, somebody that can help me navigate that new level of opportunity and new level of performance. Okay, you're going to have questions, but it's going to be okay. And if you don't have questions, then you need to work on it, because you should have questions. Because I got way more questions than I've got answers right now. And that's what keeps me running, because I am going to find the solution with God's help, and he's going to give me wisdom to know how to navigate the future. And so we're going to do it, and watch what God does in the middle of that. Make changes that are positive, not just changes. A lot of people think if they change their living room furniture around, it's going to change their lives, and it won't. It can be beautiful, it can be awesome, but change has got to come on the inside. So let me ask you a question. If we were sitting there and you were paying me a lot of money, I would look you in the eye right now and say, can you tell me 5 things you're doing that are dysfunctional? You got to know. Because if you can't see it, it may be, I'm not comfortable talking to people. I don't know how to connect with people. I don't know how to find a want, need, or desire in another person. I don't know. All I can see is me. But I can tell you this, if you will do this, it will change everything in your life. By the way, we've talked about this before. The reason I'm talking about it again is because you have advanced, you've taken land, you've lost some land, and you can't be the same person that you used to be and lead from where you are to where you need to go. Okay, you okay? All right, now that shouldn't make you feel inadequate. That should make you feel like I'm a student, I can learn, and I can grow, and I can get better, okay? All right. The second thing is you have to cast clear and compelling vision. Clear and compelling vision. What's different than you than anything else God created is your ability to visualize the future. Animals can sense. They can sense danger. But if you're smart, you can look out in front of you and see the danger. You can even see the danger in you. You can see this is where I'm weak. This is where I let up. This is where I'm not as good as I need to be. And by the way, you won't be great at everything. You can't be. So you're going to need to bring other people that have greatness in them and then help build their character so you can sustain the new blessing that's about to come. Most blessings destroy people. They don't elevate people. So in your life, you've got to know that. Cast clear and compelling vision. My buddy, Alex, he loves gardening. And you may not know this, but at G5, I've had a dream for a long time to have a garden here that we could have a bunch of people work in. We could feed families that were hurting, and we can also give it away to other food shelters and other places. But there's something about working in a garden. I was in the garden my whole life that teaches you so much about seed time and harvest. There's so much about it that builds your character. And I would just encourage you, if you have children early in their lives, start teaching them about growing things. The responsibility of not only growing and fertilizing and watering. By the way, that's an art. But also how to weed something. When you weed something, you take the dysfunction out of it so the nourishment is not stolen by something that is worth nothing. You keep that which is worth something nourished well. So I just want to encourage you, envision. You've got to have it. And then you've got to be able to enjoy it, and you've got to be able to celebrate it. You've got to celebrate it. So if I could sit down with you right now, I would love to ask you, in 90 days, how is it going to be different? How are your relationships going to be different? How is your finances going to be different? You can't keep spending money the same way you've always spent it and expect to have a different result. You can't even think, I've always made money this way, so this is the way I'm going to make money. You are a steward. The third thing is I have to resolve conflict, or I get to resolve conflict. When you remove dysfunctional conflict out of any situation, it is amazing what happens. Every one of us listening to me right now probably needs to have a conversation with somebody that we don't feel we can have. So conflict is not the problem. The problem is unresolved conflict. And if you're not careful, somebody's going to come into your life. I want you to listen to me very closely now. And they're going to give you advice that will create greater conflict in your mind and confusion, and not greater clarity and greater ability to be efficient and effective. Everybody knows that when I speak, I appreciate you when you say great job and you're going, oh man, that meant the world to me. The greatest compliment you can give me, and the one I always look at my wife's eyes and ask her, was I clear? Was I clear? How many of you have ever had a conversation with somebody and you thought you were clear and they walk away like, I'm mud. I don't have any idea what you just said to me. Can I get it? Yeah, that's what I'm telling, especially men. Let me just be on the lady side for a second. Men, we got to work on being able to communicate and get educated, because how many of you know it's not what you say, it's what they hear? Can I get a yeah there? Okay, so this is incredibly important. And so it's why if my wife and I are ever having a really deep conversation, I always try to look at her and say, let me just make sure that what you said is what I heard. Instead of thinking, well, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you, I'm thinking, let me understand what you are really saying. What are you saying? And so this is just critical. So in your life, reducing conflict, we're going to get better at that. And by the way, I have decided today that I'm going to start some mentoring groups that I bring in, and we just have open conversations about this. This will be like at a beginning level, and there will be a cost to it. And then I'm going to go to the next level and the next level and the next level. And every level you go up costs more money. Why? Because it's going to make you so much more money. Why, as a pastor, would I care about that? Because I do not want you to waste your life for $20 an hour when you could be making $2,000 an hour in the same amount of time. Your family and your friends and the kingdom of God deserve it. So it's time to grow. So let me tell you right now, one of the things that causes a lot of conflict, and we talk about it all the time, and I'm not certain people really understand it here, but it's honor, order, and authority. Anytime there's rebellion in something, there's going to be chaos. Anytime there's not honor. I don't know any of you that love to be in somebody's presence that doesn't honor you. Do you enjoy somebody dishonoring you by lying to you? No. So honor, order. How many of you love things to just be a mess? Now, I don't think we should get so orderly that we stop God from moving, but I do believe we need to have our 5 steps down that says this is how we do this. And then people need to follow it. And if they break that system, for goodness sakes, Alex fixes 3D printers because something got out of order. And he has to go get the order back. Your body, your health will break down when something gets out of order. If you get out of order in your communication, if you don't know what you need to know, you will create chaos and disorder everywhere you go. What I want to do is any environment I walk into, I don't create disorder, I create unity and honor and order. The 4th thing is I have to raise leaders. I have to raise leaders. Not always easy, but a powerful thing. So raising leaders is a passion of my heart. And right now at G5, we have the most incredible leaders. Matter of fact, I encourage all you leaders. I was talking to a leader yesterday from Colorado, and I said, I can't tell you this. You've got to come and see it. As a leader, if you lead in a company or you want to build a company, you need to come. I'm really, really proud of the leaders that we're growing. We're not perfect. We're not 100% there yet, but we are way better than we ever thought we could be. And we're enjoying the trip of being on leadership growth together. And what it takes is for a team to understand that its strengths and its weaknesses, its opportunities and its threats. If I were going to sit down with you right now, I would want to know, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are the opportunities? Like, I want you right now to be thinking about this. If you're here today in this room, and you can even do it if you're watching online, let me know 5 opportunities that are in front of you right now that you can do. So you go, hey, PT, do you know yours? I got about 100 that I'm working on. I gave you one. I want to build a garden. I also want to build a distribution center at the front edge of this property. I also want to build a content development building. I'd call it a television studio. I'd call it a recording studio, but I'm getting slick. What do you think about this, Matt? Content development building, man. But you imagine if we brought young people in from all over the world and taught them how to build positive content in a building right over here. And then I had a building right across the way that are top entrepreneurs that they could walk into a boardroom and you could sit down and top people that are running businesses that are crazy. And you could sit down and just ask them questions. Experience is not the best teacher. Evaluated experience. You imagine if you were a brand new mom and you were going, how do I do this? And we had somebody there that could say, here you go, read Step Up, and I'm going to be here for you. You imagine if we trained and equipped and empowered people? Do you realize what we're going to be able to do? What are 5 opportunities that you have? Here's the next question I have for you. What are the threats that you don't see, that you need to see, that are in front of you? Very, very critical. So, let's talk about 10 signs of a narcissist. I don't know how many of y'all have ever encountered a narcissist. They're right about everything. Their opinion is the most valuable. And you're supposed to bow down at their feet and say, yes, sir, or yes, ma'am. They're control freaks beyond control freaks. And by the way, you would see that as a problem. They don't see that as a problem at all. Not at all. So number 1, narcissists are self-obsessed. They're self-promoting. They're self-absorbed. And they pretend to be interested in you. Oh my goodness. That's what's so interesting about a narcissist. Because they actually get in your presence and you're going, this person actually cares about me. This person is interested in me. They have this duality in a way that they present themselves that's overwhelming. And while they're acting interested in you, they are really self-absorbed about themselves. They only want to know about you so they can manipulate you more for their advantage. Now, I'm not trying to get you paranoid when you get out of here. I just want you to be equipped to understand, because if you have a narcissist that you have hired and put him on your team, it will be so dysfunctional. Matter of fact, most narcissists, they think it's a spiritual gift that they have. All right, I'm going to let that there. So here's what I can tell you. They can start talking about themselves and start talking about you But every time after they talk about you for a little bit, it always ends up back talking about themselves. They pretend to listen to whatever you're talking about or what somebody else is talking about, but what they're really listening for is how they can promote and draw attention to themselves. Okay, are y'all okay? We're probably not going to get through all the 10 of these. I'll finish it next time. I want to give you 10 that are pretty consistent because there's more characteristics than 10, but these are really consistent in a narcissist. So the first one is that they are self-obsessed. The second is they brainwash you to believe that you need them in your life because their life is way superior to your life. My life is so much better than you. We even have to be careful of this. For my friends that are in business, let me talk about church for a second. In church, we can even make people believe I'm more spiritual because I got a nicer car and I live in a nicer home and I got a nicer yacht and I got a nicer watch. I tell leaders that God blesses them so they can buy some nice things. As soon as you get those nice things and you walk in a room, they should fade. And what people should feel is your heart. What they should see is your humility. What they should see is your honor. What they should see is the order that you respect in your life. What they should see in your life is that you are a person under authority, therefore you have authority. Okay. But they'll brainwash you. And they want you to bow down because of how much money they have, how much of a lifestyle they got, the homes that I have, the things that I get to do that you don't get to do. And that they want to convince you that their life is really, really better than yours so that they can have their way with you. And so I just want to encourage you, they will look at you as a project that you need to become a person of their caliber in order to have their life. Okay, are you okay? Are you all right? Okay. And they play on this in multiple ways and have a radar inside of them to know how to approach it in multiple forms. Deception is constantly happening. They're continually going on about who they know and what they have and what they've achieved and where they've been. And it's a constant brainwashing to make you feel that your life is really inferior unless it's connected to their life. Okay. Let me contrast something for a second. Somebody that's not a narcissist, that's filled with love and humility and understand honor, order, and authority, will make their conversation about you, and you won't even know what they've done and where they've been until probably somebody else comes to them and goes, do you have any idea who you just talked to? You will leave not being impressed with them. You will leave being encouraged in who you are. You won't feel less than. You'll feel more than. Can you hear what I'm saying to you right now? So, as I talk about these things, it's just so sickening. A little unknown fact about my life. One of my mentors owned the world's largest airplane company, bought and sold and leased jets. It was a miracle that he became my friend. He flew me around on his jets. And my relationship with him was so powerful because as a young boy of about 21 years old, or a young man, he probably gave me a 40-year jump in just his mentoring of me and telling me about life. And he not only shared with me the victories, but the defeat of ego which is actually a false sense of self about yourself. But he asked me to read a book called Sun Tzu's The Art of War. I'm not recommending you read it. Matter of fact, I would read a few pages of it and put it down because it was so demonic. Let me give you one thing in Sun Tzu's The Art of War, is that the weakest link in any chain is the strength of the chain. And if you want to destroy somebody, find out a weakness in their lives and capitalize on it. Every politician probably reads this book. No, I'm serious. Every businessman probably leads because they always are looking for the upper hand. I'm not saying that you should not be competitive. I'm not saying that you should not be out ahead. What I am telling you, though, when everybody's got to lose in order for you to win, that is not how it should be. Number 3, are you all okay or I'm running you off? You're all right? They manipulate you into their version of you. Did you get that? They manipulate you into their version of you. It's who they need you to be in order for them to be who they are. Okay, are you good? They want to groom you. They'll come along and offer mentorship just about to anybody. But you have to be exactly like me in order for me to help you. I'm not trying to get you to be like me. I'm trying to, first of all, get you like Jesus. And second of all, I'm trying to help you become the best you can possibly become. When you leave my presence, I don't want you to be impressed with who I am. I want you to be impressed with what you can be and what you're becoming. See, I wish every young woman on the planet could come into a place and sit down to her and really let her know her value before she makes any relational decision in her life. Because if not, you will always lower the bar for the idea, and the challenge with women is you're nurturers. And so you just believe I can heal anybody. Well, you got to understand, some people don't want to be healed. Now, I got the same challenge in ministry because I have a mercy gift. And by the way, the next shape class is on your spiritual gift. And for those of us that have a mercy gift, I have to be careful. Matter of fact, I have to build walls between me and people, because if not, I just believe people and I want what's best for them. I need people around me that don't have a mercy gift that will look at someone like my wife. Now, she's merciful and she's kind, but she doesn't have the mercy gift I have. And so therefore she has my back. She'll go, hey, I'm just telling you. And I'll be like, no. She'll be like, yeah. And I'll be like, you got to be kidding. Laura, that sits up here, she's been our friend for probably 35 years. No mercy gift at all. None. I mean, if I see somebody hurting and in a wheelchair, I'll be like, oh. And she'd be like, good, you got a way to get around. I'd be like, what are you doing? Now, see, some of you got to realize you either have a mercy gift or you don't. Having a mercy gift will get you in trouble. Not having a mercy gift will get you in trouble, because I can have a conversation with you and say it just exactly the way it is and really break your heart and walk away going, I told him. And if you've ever been married more than 6 months, I promise you, those of you that have a mercy gift versus those that you don't have, God bless your husband or wife. That's all I can tell you, because the message is way more important than the feeling that I leave you in. If I could do anything for you today as a leader, if I have an interaction with you, it's way more important how you feel walking away from me than what you think. Because people never remember what you say, but they do remember how you made them feel. So it's amazing to me. People will walk by people. I'm mad, I'm upset. They'll kick the cat, and they'll walk by and not say anything to anybody. And I'm like, how did you do that? No mercy. No mercy. So we'll talk about this. So here's what I can tell you. They will talk to you and say you need to read what I read and watch what I watch. And You need to have my political point. You need to have everything just like me. Can I ask you a question? Can you get along with people that you don't see eye to eye? Can you walk hand in hand with somebody you don't agree with? I had 500 employees. I didn't agree with any of them. Matter of fact, there are some days I get up and don't even agree with myself. Can I get a hey, that's right there? I mean, anybody else going, I need about 3 cups of coffee before I'm going to have any agreement with anybody, right? And some of you are just so phlegmatic. You're just like, well, just as long as I can keep peace. And I want to tell you, in a company, somebody that has a personality that just wants to keep peace can keep you from reaching the mission. Because you have to have confrontation in order to get better. I'm not talking about wrong confrontation. I'm not talking about disrespectful. It just means, hey, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. And I pray right now you have somebody in your life right now, besides somebody that's close to you, with eyes outside that will look at your life and go, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that behavior. I don't agree with that decision. I don't agree. John Engstrom and his beautiful wife were here, and of their managers, they have a 5-minute late grace period. And through the years, through their work, 194 times they were late. And do you know what they said when they confronted them and said, this is not right? You know what a lot of them said? This is too much stress, I'm leaving. Now, see, some of us go right now, oh, that's a mess. If you've never been taught the value of time and showing up on time, forget showing up on time, just showing up. I had a friend of mine, he owned about 12 McDonald's, and he said, Tim, there was a time that we would just, we were so hard on them. And he said, every week they were a half hour late, and we would just go, oh, thank God they made it. And see, when you start lowering that ability to be responsible, it changes everything in a company. Sloppy work does not get rewarded. And that's why if I look into your life right now and go, where are you letting up? Where are you trying to be comfortable? Where do you get mad if somebody raises the bar? I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just telling you, these can be narcissistic traits. I've listened to you. Look, I was at a pool the other day, and my friend called me. I work even when I'm playing. One of my mentors in my life, Dexter Yeager, taught me, goes, Goad, if you are ever going to have a life with any relaxation, you're going to have to put together sometimes work and play. And so early in my life, I started learning how I could play and work. So I was at the pool, and my tan's looking pretty good. I feel pretty good about that, And I was talking on the phone, and I was very loud. And a guy was trying to read a newspaper. And he looked at me and goes, hey, yeah. And at first I was like, dude, I am going to pop you right in the nose. I'm going to correct your hide. You don't talk to another man like that. And then it was just like, seriously, I think it was the Spirit of God that just said to me, Gay saying it's her that did it. No. I just remember going, Goad, this man's out here trying to relax. And you weren't aware. And I said, God, thank you for showing me. And I just walked on. The Bible says a soft answer turns away wrath. But you know that feeling inside of you where it kind of whelms up and goes, you have any idea who I am? You have the responsibility. Do you know the problem that I'm solving right now in this man's life? And you're sitting over there judging me. No wonder you're so angry and so mad. How many of you know it's easy to do that? And so I think we have to be aware, watch this, of the narcissism that's inside of us that is there and it's developing. It doesn't just go full bore at one time. It keeps growing. So I'm not talking about somebody coming to your life and going, hey, have you ever read the book Starting with Why by Simon Sinek? By the way, For those people that I really start mentoring in a mentoring group and get closer, I will start you on a book reading program. Why? Because readers are leaders. And if you start reading, even here at G5, you take a young man or a young woman and you start them on a reading program, it will radically change their lives. Radically change their lives. Think about the hours and hours of research and information that people put into a book, and you get it for $15. You got to be kidding me. So, I'm not saying that the right recommendation from the right person is not valuable, because it is. But when people are continually trying to manipulate you, to get you to think the way they want you to think. See, people don't understand the difference between vision, mission, and values and groupthink. Groupthink is cultish. But when there's clarity in vision, mission, and values, and we understand principles, and then we put them to work in our own personality, it changes everything. You want me to give you one more, or you want me to quit? All right, so this is number 4. They make you question your thoughts and decisions in favor of theirs. They make you question your thoughts and decisions in favor of theirs. You might ask me, hey, PT, do you mentor your own children? And Blake would tell you that when he and I got in the car, I was taking care of calls, but we had a mentoring session this moment. And I start talking to them about the greatness inside of them. Because let me tell you, whenever you're gifted in multiple areas, in order for people to be comfortable with your giftedness, they will try to put you in one box. So I'm continually telling my kids, my young adults, these amazing people that are changing lives, who are killing it, who are getting better, I'm not done. God has given me a gift to put my foot in your back and shove you down the road in the deep end that you don't feel like you can swim in. And if you will trust enough, not in me, but in God and in yourself, you can come on. And the greatest, one of the greatest compliments in all the world is somebody come to you and go, thank you for pushing me. Thank you for giving me the truth in love. One of the greatest misuse of words is gossip and criticism. You have aborted the plan of God for your life when you do that. So, it's interesting because when narcissists, when you're expressing an opinion about something, particularly if you know it's something that's controversial, if you're making, I'm just going to be very straight with you, okay? If you're making a comment on racism or social globalization or any hot item, if you're making a statement, you say closed-end statements. You don't leave it open. Do you realize that if you convince somebody against their own will, they're still of the same opinion? Do you understand that? And one of the things that we've got to realize in our lives, whether it's a TV show or it's music, or one of the things that I do probably will just really confuse you, is I read stuff I don't agree with. And I have friends of mine that we definitely don't agree. And we just look at each other and go, you're a hot mess. And he goes, you're a hot mess. My wife and I pastor a Christian church. And the other day I was somewhere and Gay and I were sitting there, and the person waiting on us said, well, I just recently converted to another religion. And they gave the pros and cons of the religion, and I've got enlightenment. And I'm sitting there, and everything in me as a pastor wants to go. And we just sat there. And we said, you know what? We would love for you to come to church sometime. Don't let an issue get greater than the relationship. And they came to church, and they loved it, and they're telling other people to come to church. having to be right and control somebody's thinking, narcissist, is not the way to get this done. A lot of these people, honestly, they try to infiltrate your psychology by inserting themselves into your thought processes, questioning it, and dismantling it. Okay, I'm not talking about destructive things. I'm just talking about what you believe, what you morally feel is right. Look, no one starts down the wrong path with one conversation. It's those friends and people you hang with that if you hang with them long enough, and there are women in this room right now that have been manipulated by men, and there are men in this room who have been manipulated by women, because they're kind of like a chicken that breaks into another hen house or a chicken house and steals the eggs. And so if someone is with you that loves you, they will never try to dismantle who you are. They will help you see yourself more for who you are and help you grow in that. I can just tell you, they will question your thinking, and of course, their thinking will be superior to yours, and it will just be crazy. Leaders get mad at me. I'm going to stop there. Leaders get mad at me because, let me pick on McGill for a second, okay? McGill comes to me and he goes, what do you want me to do here? And a lot of leaders want me to tell them what to do. And I used to think that was really cool. And I don't do that anymore. For about the last 20 years, I don't go, Lisa, this is what you should do. I don't do that. Addie, this is what you should do. Matter of fact, at 8 or 9 years old with our children, I stopped telling them what to do and started teaching them how to think. Critical thinking. You're about to make a decision. Does it honor God? Is it going to be the best decision for you down the road? See, if I could just work with some people, even on their post. Can I tell you, I have guys that own companies that go in, and the first thing they do is look at your post. And they're seeing how self-absorbed you are. They're seeing what you put up. And I just want you to know it's not going to work in your best interest. Because they're looking for somebody that is not going to be a disruptor in the sense of, with relationships, they're going to be a disruptor in the fact of their performance. While everybody else is saying, I can only do this, they're going to come in and go, no, I'll do this, this, and this. Let me just close by this and telling you, this is biblical. The Bible says if they ask you to go a mile, go 2. If they ask you to carry their coat, carry their cloak. I'm encouraging you right now, if you want extreme blessing in 2023, go the extra mile. Forgive more than other people would ever forgive. Love and build unity like no one else on the team. And I just want to tell you this, and I want to do one talk on just the power of edification. The power of edification. Oh yeah, I just say great things about people. That's not edification, that's compliments. Edification is when I empower you. If you're with me and you have children, many times when I'm out here talking to you, I'll look into your children's eyes and go, do you know how much your daddy loves you? Do you know how much your mom loves you? By the way, if I can get you younger guys to grab some younger young men, 12, 13, 14, and put your arm around them and go, buddy, I got you. And go, do you know how blessed you are to have this person as a friend? When I compliment you, I make a statement about you. When I edify you, and by the way, the word edification is in the Bible, and we're supposed to build one another up. We're supposed to help empower people, not empower me to be over you. Are you with me right now? Once submission is ordered and demanded, it's no longer submission, it's dictatorship. Submission actually means under the mission. And I watch married couples get all upset about it all the time because I'm the leader, I'm the leader, I'm the leader, I'm the leader. It's this lust for power which comes straight from Satan's heart. I'm not looking at her and going, I'm the man, you bow down to me. Actually, I believe that the greatest person in any relationship is the person that outserves the other person. McGill, what would you give me if I could find you 20 people that would come to work for you that would go, McGill, I want you to win and I want you to win big. I'm going to work my heart out and help you win. Would that help you? Would you be willing to give them a little extra bonus if they brought in $100,000 more than you asked them to bring in? Give, and it shall be given unto you. Pressed down, shaken together, shall men give unto your bosom. I'm going to tell you this in closing. Listen to me. Right now, there are 10 people observing your life that wants to give you a promotion, and they're watching what you're doing. I will tell you this, somebody that's dishonest, nobody wants to promote. And most of you are trying to get rid of dishonest things in your life because of the chaos and the crisis that it creates. Can I get an amen? All right, I love you. Charge, go get it done. All right, anybody got a question about what I've said? Yeah, that's deep, isn't it? Yes, all right.